Our aim is to tell the story of how FareShare's funding has affected the Church End and Roundwood area in the borough of Brent. It is well documented that this part of Brent is a traditionally working class area, identified at the beginning of the 20th century as one of the poorest areas in London. It is the most ethnically diverse borough in the country. Let's take a look at the history of the area and how FareShare came about.
This area was a sink estate, Church Road and Roundwood. There was a lot of crime.
You see like gangs of kids kind of hanging around by the streets, by the blocks, and it just seemed as though there wasn't much for them to do here. And I think since the regeneration and different organisations working together, that has changed dramatically.
FareShare was set up 2003. It has a 10-year term, and it is very unusual because I think it is the only time that the lottery has given such a large amount of money, £50 million, to somebody else to distribute over a 10-year period. And one of the reasons the protector was put in place was to try and make sure that, having given over that money, that the lottery had some means of checking that the money was being well spent. It's a very ambitious programme simply because of the way the money was given over up front for 10 years.
We're the actual agents responsible for the distribution of the money for FareShare in Roundwood and Church End. We were appointed by Community Foundation Network. They have a responsibility for FareShare across the country. So we approached them to apply to be the agents for FareShare. The previous work was done by the Scarman Trust. They did a fantastic job over the last few years. They were no longer in a position to take forward FareShare. So we applied and we were considered, and now we became agents and we got appointed in December 2008.
Looking back on the Scarman Trust who ran it, they got us off to a very, very good start by identifying pretty quickly the needs of the local community. Certainly a different outlook on what they want to achieve. And as far as I'm concerned, we have picked up the cudgels. We're very grateful particularly to Dorothy Newton of the Scarman Trust and her assistant Anya in making sure that we took over a viable programme. The main objectives of the panel are to, in various ways, support groups in the Church End Roundwood area. Let me emphasise that this FareShare project runs from 2004 to 2013. So I'm coming in halfway through in order to carry on the existing programmes and to institute new ones. Now, there are all sorts of projects and all sorts of organisations that need support, but it's more than just that, financial support and resources. We have to monitor those groups and ensure that the recipients get value for money. We listen to the local groups, and don't forget, the most important part of FareShare is its panel and its connections with the local community.
The panel was selected from the first meeting, and they chose a cross-section of the community, like representing the elderly, children, so that we have a good representation. I think it's going very well. It's made a tremendous difference to the area. We're providing activities for both the elderly and the children, and it has brought together the different generations.
FareShare has funded my project, which originally started off as a community-based initiative around getting youth into Taekwondo. Because of the speed at which the project grew, it had to develop into a social enterprise in order to sustain itself. And what we have now is an organisation called Outreach Taekwondo Consultancy, where we try and engage with young people or young adults as well who can benefit from martial arts training. And that all started because FareShare saw the benefits in the project and the way we wanted to run it, which included interacting with local schools, the police, youth offending teams, and the community directly to see what they wanted. And the idea being that we could invest the time and money into young people and give them a sense of discipline, an understanding of respect, but at the same time teaching them an art which would help them with their communication skills and develop them so that they didn't have to fight on the street in the first place.
There's different ways of looking at achievement, but I think one obvious achievement I think is actually Kappa Power. Kappa Power is making this video, and Kappa Power has been involved with Fair Share right from the very beginning, and I hope that Kappa Power is involved with Fair Share right to the very end and beyond, because I think Kappa Power is part of that legacy. What we need to do is lay down some firm roots and foundations to build on, and I think that's the whole focus of Fair Share, is to consolidate, support organisations, support communities, and develop some new thinking, to develop the leadership skills and potential of local people here so they can take over stuff and they can run with things, and then we can step away as agents.